timely conversation, Making Africa Great Again. It's a movement and it's calling Africans across the globe to reconnect, rebuild, and rise. Well, together, this group is inspiring a reconnection between Africa and the diaspora through media, culture, and a vision. But they're joining us to tell us more about it. To my extreme right, I have joining us Pan-African leader, founder of the Rebirth of the Black Nation, and executive producer of the Emerge As Conference. Dr. Angela Harris is here. Doc, you're welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you.
Great to have you back in our studios.
Thank you. I'm glad to be back.
And also joining us today is Pan-African advocate, filmmaker, and executive director of the Emerge As Conference, Kenny Daniel. You're welcome,
Thank
Kenny.
you so much.
Good to have you both in the studio. So practically, Making Africa Great Again, what does it mean to both of you? I'll begin with Dr. Angela.
So to make Africa great again is simply to emerge Africa back to its origination of being, meaning that Africa was the first, Africa will be the last. Africa needs to know that and operate in that manner. So in order to make Africa great again, we first have to identify self-love, understanding who you are, what your predestined assignment was before you were even born, emerging that into the economic values and the resources here in Africa, understanding that the unity of all of Africa is going to conquer the world.
And Kenny Daniel?
Yeah, so just like she said, Africa is going to be the first. Africa has been the first, and Africa still is what it is, and Africa would continue to be. So we are trying as much as possible to also reawaken the consciousness of every African people. We are great people, but at some point we lost our value by forgetting who we are, by keying into the brainwash and the whitewash from our colonizers. So it is time for us to begin to retrace our steps back. And how we can do that is by we loving ourselves, understanding ourselves, coming together, which is the Emergers Conference that we're trying to put together so that every one of us globally, as long as you've got a black skin, you're an African, you need to emerge to build our economy, to build our power as a people.
So Dr. Harris, Kenny talks about where we lost it. For you, where did we lose it?
Wow, that's so amazing because I was up at 1 o'clock this morning, reawakening again. I was writing one of the curriculums that I have for my lifetime doctorate for the Blackwood Worldwide Institute of Change, which is my college. And one of the things that I was writing was about Pan-Africanism. Its beginning, the original mandate from it, its fall, and its rebirth. So to answer that question, from the beginning, there was a very spiritual outline for Africa. And over time, the fall became greed, it became division, it became everything that took Africa to believe in that Africa needs the outsiders when the outsiders really need Africa. And so the rebirth is reawakening mind, body, and soul. And then the economy and regaining and retaking back even the currency being owned by Africa, not comparing it to the outsiders, but living in the means of Africa so that Africa can be great again.
When we talk about losing our identity, there has been a lot of talk about the fact that, look, if we did not give ourselves away, we sold ourselves into slavery, and even till now, we have a culture of being so welcoming and so nice to the foreigners or the person with the white skin, not to sound racist, but as compared to our own brothers with our skin color. So this thing about us, coming together in unity is very important. Your comments and your thoughts on that, Kenny?
Yeah, so you said not to sound racist, but if speaking it as it is would tag you as a racist in protecting your own as a black race, I think there's nothing wrong in that. So based on what you said we sold ourselves into slavery. We didn't sell ourselves into slavery. There was actually no slave trade. You know, trade should benefit the seller and the buyer. If it only benefits the buyer, then it's not a trade. Then it's a criminal act. You know, so what happened way back wasn't really slave trade. It was a kidnap. You know,
educate us.
Yeah. So way back, right, we weren't really selling ourselves. You know, so there was a medium of my cousin going to work for my brother because I couldn't really afford some certain things. And when he's done working, he comes back. So he either works and brings food back. So when the white man came, there were lots of deceiving games that was done. Just like you said, we're welcoming. So our crime was our welcoming nature. We were so welcoming, we were so accommodating, and they took advantage of that. Africa has been very wealthy from the start. Remember the great Ashanti kings, what they used to rock was gold, not the rubber sprayed with gold they wear today. Just like the great Mansa Musa, he was wealthy not in cash, but in resources. So that's how we have been. Those people came broke and poor. They came to seek for greener pastures out here. When they came, what they see as wealth, we saw it like normalcy. And they became interested in our land, our soil, our resources, everything, our spirituality, our power. And in every gathering, there's always a sellout. No matter how a group of people come together, there's always one person that is a little bit uncomfortable. So they had to trade on the ignorance of that person. And that was how they got us. Because we didn't really see monetary value in what we had. We had love, we had happiness, and they encroached in. And it's still happening up until now. Through our resources, through our entertainment. Our entertainment currently is being harvested by the West. The same thing that happened during the slave time, the colonizing era, is still happening right now. So until we come together on the 11th of September, during the Emergers Conference, to understand how powerful we are, if only we can build our own system, love ourselves, and grow. The white man or the Western world is going to envy us, and they're scared of we emerging. That's why they would always want to truncate every effort through different means. But it's high time we emerge, African people.
Dr. Harris, here we are, some of us deeply indebted to these countries, our former colonial masters, in so many ways. And we're still struggling on our own to be our own and to nurture our own and to use our own resources, build our own revenue. From that point of view, from the point of view of leadership and what leadership should be doing, what would you say?
Okay, first of all, I would like to just expound a little bit on the last question, because we have to become accountable. Yes, it is true that people came from other places to take what they knew was valuable. Like it was said, in every situation, there's always a person that is willing to give up something to get something, which it is now recognized as greed. The Machiavellianism of those who came over with their colonization mindset allowed for the ones that had already the greedy mindset, wanting more, instead of wanting more for everyone, wanting more for themselves. Isn't that what is still going on right now? Even in the government, everywhere that we go. So we can't ignore the accountability of the leaks, because there's become a whole lot of them along the way. And there's more greed in us now than it's ever been before. And that's why it continues, because there's always someone. And I want to say that black is not the color of our skin, because unfortunately, the melanin in our skin does not unify us. And I want to say that very clearly. The melanin in our skin has not unified us along the way. There's been a lot of us with melanated skin that has allowed for all of the other things through their greed and their Machiavellian, wanting things for themselves, wanting things for their own family, wanting things for anything to make them have a title that rise in front of people instead of, a continent that rise above all. So the leadership, getting into your question,
That's right.
has been very, very horrible. That's the word. I use the word horrible a lot. Horrible means that it's just really no excuse for it. One thing about a leader is this: in leadership, no matter if you're a misleader or a leader, a good leader, a righteous leader, somebody is going to follow you, because the gift is given without repentance. And that's even in the biblical, that's in the Quran and in the Torah, that the gift that you have is always there. The way that you use the gift determines how the gift is orchestrated. So I've seen a lot of people in the political realm, in the church, quote unquote realm, in the power, but the spiritual wickedness in high places, right? So I've seen a lot of leaders that are only for themselves. And even today, it's still the same way. So the problem is that the true leaders are not in titles. The true leaders are in actions. And the actions that we have to take back, we have to make Africa great again by holding those who are in politics or in assignment of high titles. That's what I call them. They have to be held accountable for the way that they are conducting, making Africa great again. They're not doing anything for their people. So Black is beautiful, living ancestor controlling kingdom. And when you hear it anywhere in our regimen, beautiful because your heart has to be right. In order to be a good leader, you have to have a right heart. A living ancestor is a spirit that leads and guides you into all truth. And controlling your kingdom is walking in your purpose, doing the things that you're designed to do, not what you want to do in order to be seen, but what you need to do in order for things to grow.
So let's talk about the rebirth of the Black nation. What does this rebirth look like in real terms? Kenny?
Okay, just like all what we're saying, coming out from where you have been that has not been working. We as African people, we have to be born again. The real definition of being born again is you rebirthing yourself into who you are actually supposed to be, right? So talking about like the leadership situation, you see, they actually put us in the condition that we are. So it's not really much of their fault, but it becomes our fault if we don't, reborn ourselves. So the rebirth of the Black nation is we identifying ourselves as a people and also coming out and being born again in its fullness and in its right potential, in its right nature.
Dr. Harris, I don't know whether you want to add something to that. Otherwise, if you add something, that's fine.
So the rebirth of the Black nation is the agenda of change for our people. In anything that you do, when you are in a change mission, there's some things that have to be rebirthed. The rebirth of the Black nation is a change of your mindset. It's a change of actions. It's a change of accountability, and it's a change of responsibility. It's the agenda of the sustainability mission to change Africa.
All right, let's get into the role of the diaspora in all of this. Let's talk about that.
Okay, so the role of the diaspora, first of all, I want to say to people, and I have to make this statement clear every interview. I was born in America. I'm from heaven, but I'm very African. And I state that because it's so important to understand me in the mission. The diaspora has the people that have been taken into this region of what we call freedom, which is not free. And people call that America. To me, the diaspora are people that really have the heart to understand that Africa was first. Africa is not a third world country or a continent. That's what has been put into the minds of Africa. But in our reality, if Africa is the first account of life, then how can it be a third world country or continent, whatever the translation of, because people use it different all over the world. The first world has the first everything, the first power, the first life, the first spirituality, the first commission to make things great. So the diaspora, first of all, they have to be awakened individually to understand that the pictures that was shown of what Africa is not valid. Even I had somebody joking the other day saying, well, when I come, is there going to be lions and tigers and bears following me all around? Or when I come, is it going to be like the Feed the Hungry on TV? You know, they have all of these images. But I had to explain to them that Africa, really, when you look at America, there's people that are homeless on the mayor's steps, on the governor's steps, and they have to step over them to even get to their job. It's even in worse condition than it is here in Africa. Africa only needs to evaluate the resources and utilize the resources. And the diaspora, because of the currency that is patronized even in Africa, they have to come and bring their resources only of money to invest back in Africa. That's what I feel that the diaspora needs to do. Anything else, Africa needs to rebuild it within. They don't need to go outside to regain what we already have.
Kenny, you're a filmmaker. Here, for many people who, even journalists, the media, who want to tell stories, they would easily get funding for stories about hunger, poverty, war, conflict. You would easily get the funding for it. As compared to the other stories about our technology, the things, amazing things we're doing, innovation. What stories as a filmmaker do you feel that need to be told about Africa that are not being told?
I did a film, a series called ECOWAS Wives. So that's a typical example, right? And this is also for everyone out there to get to also understand how I make films. Ever since I've been making movies, it has always been multinationals in my film. I'm a Nigerian by geographical location.
That's right.
Right. So I've never done any film and you see 100% Nigerians in it. It's usually Nigerians, Ghanaians, Liberians, Sierra Leone, Ivorians in my film. Right. So as a filmmaker, we must learn to understand the power of inclusion. Right. That's one. So for marketing purpose, you can't just make a film and have just Nigerians in it. Ghanaians have to be counted, Liberians, because we all are one people, separated by invisible borders, right? We must also learn cultures, different, diverse culture, and include or incorporate diverse cultures in our stories, right? Because Ghanaians can't keep watching the Igbo culture all the time. But when a Nigerian makes a film about the Ashanti culture or the Ghana culture and has some Ghanaians into it, Nigerians will begin to learn the Ghanaian culture even without having to travel across. So one of the reasons we're separated is because we don't even really understand ourselves. We don't understand the culture. When a Nigerian hears Ghanaian, hears about Ghana, he already has only one notion about a Ghanaian. The same thing with a Ghanaian. Most people in diaspora don't really understand the culture, the Nigerian culture. They just believe everybody is the same, right? So we have to tell our real story, our cultural story, so people can really understand how power, because in our culture is our spirituality. But if we do not tell our own story, we're going to begin to tell other people's story, and it won't make sense. And other people will also create a story of us that is not real. And just like she's saying,
right,
there's a narrative already out there. I've never made a movie where people wear sack bag, because I've been moving around Ghana, Liberia, Nigeria. I've never seen some people still wearing sack bag. So if you're a filmmaker, you make epic film, make it correctly. Make it correctly, because there's no place where in Africa right now, people go naked, they dress, awfully and looking crazy like most of my colleagues do out there. So let's tell our story in the correct manner, right, so we can also tell the world who we are.
All right. So let's come to, Emerge Us. How are conferences like Emergers shaping global narratives about Africa?
So the Emergers Conference, first of all, it's not just a conference, it's a movement. It's the emerging of Africa as a whole. Africa, not only the continent, but Africa worldwide, because the end result is that everywhere around the world has to come back to where it started at. And so the Emergers Conference mission is to have a sustainability plan. And anything that you do, that, like I said, the rebirth of the Black nation is the agenda. The agenda, and everything that you do, you have to have an agenda. And everything that you do, you have to have a sustainability plan. So the Emergers Conference is, first of all, introducing all areas that will meet everybody. Because one thing that I understand that has created failing missions is because it's only for one crowd. When you have something that everybody can relate to in that entire mission, then somebody is going to grab somewhere and get in where they fit in. But if everything is only geared toward the elite, if everything is only geared toward politicians, if everything is only geared toward church folk, then you have a failing system still because you don't have unity. So the Emergers Conference mission is to, like, for instance, we have a business elite forum. That's for the business people, the ones that are doing business, that want to do trade, that want to, create things that's going to carry the business part out. Then we have the Emergers Entertainment Gala, because one thing about our people is that we want to be entertained. But we don't only entertain, we spiritain and edutain by the way of entertainment, meaning that in the midst of being entertained, you're going to leave with something spiritually, and you're going to leave with something to take away with your mind as well. And then our Black Kings and Queens Worldwide, our summit, it is the educational part of our panelists, our moderators, our keynote speakers, and they all bring something different to the table. Because again, it has to be something for everybody. And then we have the Black I Am International Awards, because there's so many people out here that's doing amazing things and they're never recognized. If you're not in politics, or if you're not in what about the ones that are doing for the least of them? What about the ones that are doing philanthropy work, that are doing humanitarian work, not to be seen, but just to be in action? Those people are being honored, as well as the others that are of titles. And so the entire conference is to be able to gain, for everyone that comes, to gain something that they can take away to create change.
Wow. That sounds like an interesting one, a packed one there. So how can people get involved or attend the conference?
Yeah, through social media, and also just like we're here, and everyone is welcome. The emergersconference.com. You can visit the site.
Emergersconference.com.
Yeah, and also on all social media platforms, the emergersconference.com, and the Black People United Global Network. And also you can follow Dr. Angela Harris on social media, and of course, the word is out there already.
What will be your final message as we let go of you, Doc?
My final message.
Then I'll come to you, Kenny.
My final message would be, take accountability. My accountability is, if it is to be, it's up to me. There's no way that I can blame somebody else for doing something if I'm not doing something in the space of who I am and what I'm predestined to do. I would tell everyone to come, be a part of the change. Don't just sit back and talk about the change. We blow so many things up in media about things that's happening to politicians and all of these things. And, of course, it's important, but it's not the most important factor. One thing that I see here in Ghana that has to change is Ghana operates off of the American dollar, but the economy is operating off of CDs. What can we do about that? How can we change that? How can we make things better for Ghana itself? Because in order to make Africa great again, the independence of each place has to really become independent. So Ghana's independence, we were at the Star on yesterday, and one of the things that was said was that Ghana's independence started in 1957, but is it really independent? The answer to that, of course, we know is no. So we have to do things to become independent. So this is what the conference is all about. It's the start of something to make Africa as a whole great again.
Kenny?
Yeah. Yeah. So just like she said, the essence of the conference is to shaping our mind as African people. And also, we have to be the change we want to see, right? We have to do things correctly as African people. We have to also learn to patronize ourselves. We can't live off of the Western world's economy. We can't import all that we use as African people. We can't patronize the white man's, things and do not patronize that of our brother and expect our economy to be better. And it's very, very important. And also to our government officials or our government personalities, you see, these people, they are just like pets by the colonizers. Like they're like working for the colonizers. We have to also understand that we are brothers. We must treat ourselves correctly above any other person. So whenever we want to undo our people, let's try to also remember that our great-grandchildren coming forward is still going to reap from all of, the havoc that we cause, so that Africa can be better again. So yeah, for every filmmakers out there, please do right by making the right films, make the right content that will portray who we are. And we just finished a film called Voice of the Voiceless.
Right.
Executive produced by Sierra Leonean. I directed a Nigerian. She's an American. She was in the film. We had Nigerians, we had Liberians, we have multinationals in this film. So yeah, let's do better as African people. Thank you.
So when is it happening? Where is the conference happening? Time, everything, the details.
11th to 13th September.
11th of September to the 13th of September.
Yeah, we have the morning session and the evening session. UPSA Auditorium.
Okay.
Yeah. Want to add some more?
That's it.
Yes.
So tomorrow is Doc's birthday. We're glad to have you around.
Thank you.
We want to pray for blessings for you, that God just helps you, elevates you, takes you to the next level. Things open up better for you, and everything that you're championing, as well as the entire team, is graced to move forward into a higher level.
Thank you.
That will make more impacts.
I would like to say one thing. We are still seeking partners, sponsors,
Okay.
people that understand what the mission is and that really want to make Africa great again. I can do my part, but the puzzle is so big and that we need all of the pieces in order for the puzzle to be complete.
That's what's up.
Thank you so much, Doc. Angela Harris is Pan-African leader, founder of the Rebirth of the Black Nation, and executive producer of the Emergers Conference. Also, I've had Kenny Daniel, Pan-African advocate and filmmaker and executive director of the Emergers Conference, joining us. It's been a pleasure having this conversation. I think it's a rebirth for me over here on the platform. That's it for this conversation. We have Market Watch, our packaged business update for you coming up.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Markets Watch on the Morning Target, where I bring you the details on happenings in the world of business. My name is Karen Enchi. Now let's begin from the Bank of Ghana, as it says it will soon introduce